Right, so we have our design process mapped out. What's next in this whole task? Well, that is to try and come up with design ideas. Okay, so we're asked to design a neat and compact artifact for your desk to organize writing and study accessories in a neat and compact way. Okay, so the first thing I did, or the next thing I did, was I went and I looked on Google for different ideas of different things that I might like to make or what's already out there. Just to get ideas. You don't have to take it all from your head. You can look at other things that other people have done already and you can alter and change and add to and perhaps make better. So I printed out 2 pages. I just have them here and I will put them up on Google Classroom for you as well. But I would also like you to look up some of your own ideas. This is just to give you a start and give you, I suppose, a kind of a heads up. This is how we do it. This is how we go about it. So if I just have a look at what I have here, I took a kind of fairly random selection of desk tidies. I first of all put in wooden desk tidy. And then later on I changed that because it doesn't necessarily have to be made from wood. It could be made from something else and it could just be a shape that you like that you can change and you can put it in wood or whatever it might be. Okay, so on the first sheet I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ideas. On the second I have 7. Okay. Printed them out. If this was my design brief and my design folder, I'd have them in there, but I wouldn't have them just like that blank on the screen or on the page. I'd have some sort of notes made or some sort of information written on them to kind of indicate, well, what it was I was thinking when I went to when I looked at these and what kind of inspiration they gave me, etc. So okay, I suppose the easy way to put it is, well, there was about 1,000, if not more, images on Google. Why did I select these ones? So the first one I selected there I thought was very interesting because it is the shape of a grenade cut into the timber. Is it a desk tidy? Possibly not, but it holds a phone and it holds change and things that might be on a desk. And I thought it was quite nice for that reason. Would I be making it or would I be kind of keeping that kind of an idea in my own design? Probably not, because it there's not enough, there's no joints in it, there's not much to it. Next one is more typical of a desk tidy that you might have seen around. Pots for pens, little boxes, units for holding notes, rubbers, paper clips. Boring, but it's the sort of idea that you can kind of jump off from. In other words, you can take this and you can add to it or take away from it and, you know, make it your own. Next one is one I've seen a lot online, and kind of anytime I've ever done this kind of a task with kids, they always come up with this idea, or at least they find this on Google. I actually think it's really cool. It's in the shape of a sharpener, or what you maybe feel call a pencil pointer. And it's just very different. I like it. It's made from wood, but is it doable for us? Probably not. But that doesn't mean that we can't take that shape and do something with it. This, I suppose, is more typical of what we would normally do. I quite like that this holds a lot, that it's less of a desk tidy and more of a kind of a desk organizer. It's putting all your stuff that you would have to hand vertically. So you're holding quite a lot of stuff and it's quite, you know, it's taken the footprint on the desk is quite small. It doesn't take up a hell of a lot of space. This is very, very simple, very typical. You can't really see it there in the picture, but this was actually a piece of slate, you know, like slate that you have on your roof. I thought it was quite nice because you could use chalk to write on the slate. You can make this bigger. You can make a few of these. It's quite simple. Again, very little woodwork in it, other than the fact there's wood. Now, I suppose on this page, in terms of doing and coming up with a decent idea, I thought this one was probably most like the sort of thing that you or I might come up with, or that we could do. It kind of ticks all the boxes. It has sections for holding pens and pencils. It has rounded sections, rectangular sections, and it has this nice underneath section here for putting paper into, or letters or something like that. So that was those 6. The other ones then I had, some of them quite typical, some of them quite different. This top one I quite liked because it's made up of hexagon, 6-sided shape, and hexagons are nice shapes to have to deal with or to work with in woodwork. They're slightly more interesting than squares, but yet the angles are still fairly regular and doable if it is, or if you are going to do something that has hexagon shapes in it. And they fit together, they tessellate quite nicely. To tessellate means that the shapes fit together without any gaps in between. So yeah, very simple, but maybe you could incorporate those little hexagon shapes in somewhere else, which is why I printed this one down here at the bottom. Again, hexagon shapes, but what they've done is by making it look like it's a pointed pencil, a pencil is topped, and then painting it, it looks more interesting than just a basic hexagon. But yes, that's the same thing, it's hexagons. And when you point your pencil, actually, and I might talk about it now while I'm at it, the little shape that's created there is a parabola from when you point your pencil. Anyway, that's a whole other story. Over here then, again, very typical, 2 little drawers, slots for holding stuff, holds a lot but quite small. The one in the middle is, it's like a flat pack unit, only that it's teeny tiny. It almost looks like it's made from cardboard, but again, maybe you could take ideas. I do like the file storage. Now, maybe it's a notepad you'd keep in there and maybe not an A4 size file or whatever, but look, that's to be thought about as well. This down here, quite typical, holes for holding pens and pencils, different size holes depending on what size of item you're holding. Phone sits in here, rubber sits in here, notes sits in here, change. Very simple. And on this page, I suppose, the next kind of one that I quite like is this one up here. In fact, I'll zoom in it a little bit because I think it is done very nicely. It's a series of rectangular blocks or columns. They are for holding the pens. They're just drilled straight across. It's easily done. And then there's little slots cut into these for holding photos and pens and so on. This really, I suppose, isn't necessarily doable, but I printed it because I thought it was kind of cute. It's made from Perspex, wooden box, wooden block, and the Perspex is shaped to look like it's a little man. I suppose it kind of reminds me of the man lamp we were doing. All right, so there are some ideas. So the next thing is, well, what do you do with them? Apart from the fact that, yeah, they go into your design folder, where do we go next with them? So here we are again, blank page. Actually, no, not that one, this one. Okay, blank page, and let me zoom out. That's probably too much, is it? Yeah. Right, we're going to start doing some drawing. Now, I did say I would get back to you as to what kind of items this is going to hold. So I'm just going to go back to this list that we had earlier on in the week. Okay, pens and pencils. It's going to hold them anyway. Colour pencils are with that. An eraser and a sharpener for me is vital because it's what I use all the time. A highlighter all the time. And then after that, then I suppose things that I might add to it, I like having a stapler to hand, memory stick to hand, and maybe there's other items that you have, but those 5 anyway at a minimum I'm going to put in. And you do the same, pick out the items that you want that are important to you that you'd have on your desk. Maybe you don't want to hold pens and pencils, you have a pencil case for that, I don't know. Maybe it's more important to you that you hold notes or notes files or plastic poly pockets or whatever it is. Okay, so they're the things that I want to put in it, so I'm just going to put that list on this page. So I need to hold pens, pencils, a razor sharpener, and memory stick, and stapler and highlighter. Now, this is the hard bit. And it's also the bit that's going to be tricky to sketch. And I know you don't like sketching. Well, no, that's wrong. A lot of you don't like sketching, but not all of you. But the only way to get better at it is practice. Practice makes progress, not perfect. We don't want necessarily perfect, but we want progress. So here's my space. I'm going to start sketching. It's these sketched ideas now that I'd like to put up on a video for you for Friday so you can see what everyone else is doing. Okay, let me think. What am I going to draw? I'm going to have a glance over here. I have my pictures on the desk just like I had a while ago. Remember, the part we're doing now is we're developing our design ideas. So remember, no matter what I draw here, it isn't necessarily what I would make. It's the starting point, it's the jumping off point in order to draw an idea. And I think based on what I've seen, I quite like parts of this or elements that are, can you see me? You can. Elements of this design. So I might kind of keep that on it and see where I go from there on. In terms of drawing in 3D, just a quick revision for you. The base of that box is going to be a 3D shape. So just to remind you, if you're drawing in 3D, draw a line at any angle, kind of a low shallow angle, about 30 degrees. Turn the page, go 30 degrees the other way, draw a vertical line up. Okay, your box isn't going to be too big, so maybe about here. Go back parallel. Everything is parallel, right? Even in shading, you know, even freehand drawing. You might think parallel has only got something to do with maths. No, it's geometry, which is maths, yeah, but it's not just that. And if I wanted to draw a box, there I am with my box. So I think this is my starting point, and this is kind of my base box, and I'm going to add to that. Now I'm going to make it a bit smaller than that thing that we looked at a while ago, and then I'm going to use this front piece for adding memos too. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to start drawing, and I will probably speed up the video a little bit as I go, and I'll add detail, and I'll talk you through it towards the end again. Okay, thank you. idea or drawn this idea on purpose, and the reason I have done that is I think as drawings go, because I know whatever about coming up with designs, you're all still fairly afraid of sketching and this idea of sketching. So it's, if you actually look at everything I've drawn there, bar those circles, which are quite messy looking to be fair, but they are freehand. But bar those circles, everything that is there is effectively a rectangle block. And kind of for the first time ever, I feel like I've drawn something that all of you would be able to draw by following the video. Remember too, you can slow down videos. I'm probably going to speed that up just so it gets drawn and it doesn't take up too much space on YouTube. But you can go into the settings when you're looking at any video on YouTube and you can have it at half speed or even less. Just turn off the sound. You won't need to hear the sound anyway while you're doing that sort of thing, and it might help you. Or equally, you can take screenshots, you know, pause the screen or take a screenshot or just pause it at a time and go through the video as well. That's why I like videos. It's not like where I'm in the classroom. It means you can control it. Anyway, it's not finished though, right? So a relatively simple idea, simple light design. What do we need to add now? And I know at this stage you're blue in the face from doing these kind of design briefs, but the more I do, the more likely you are to do it correct next year and the more information I give you. So our next job is, that's not a finished design. No matter how good a sketch it is or isn't, it's not finished. I know nothing about it. It looks, what, it could be made of plastic. It might even be a desk tidy. Who knows what it is? It doesn't have notes. It doesn't have labels. And it doesn't have those interesting little bits of colour and little bits of shading that we've learned to add in the past that make it look interesting and different and take it straight away from a sketch that maybe isn't quite as good as you would like it to be to something that's a lot better. And it's those elements that make it look better. And I suppose the big thing, and I've said it before loads of times, a sketch isn't a photograph. It doesn't have to be perfection. It has to convey an idea. So what notes do we add and what do I have in mind for this? Well, first of all, up here, rectangular. Now, when you're adding notes, just say, well, if I was explaining this to somebody, if someone stood in front of me and I was trying to tell them what it was about, it's what I would tell them I write down. C-T-A-N-G. Rectangular or square. Pots. I was going to say shaped pots. I might say shaped pots. To hold pens, etc. Or it could be rulers, because they're slightly bigger. So that's these guys here. Nice arrow on it. Get nice, clean, tidy arrows. This section here is to hold sticky notes. So in my aim now is this, it wouldn't be terribly big. It's holding sticky notes that are maybe, actually I won't say sticky notes, it's to hold notepads, because then you're left open as to what size of notepad you want to do. I suppose the kind of notepad I'm thinking of is your spiral, what do they call it? The reporter's notebook. Isn't that what it's called? I'm going to draw that better. Okay, so something like that, and it goes there. Maybe I'm a journalist in this situation. I'm putting a reporter's notebook under there, and then that would slide in under there. That the notebook, there's an opening there, like. Notebook. Now, if I was trying to make this a little bit more detailed or a little bit more involved, maybe I would, oh, it's gone out of my head. I was going to say there, opening for the notebook, something there triggered it off. Oh, sorry, bigger. I could make this a hell of a lot bigger as well. I just started drawing basically, and I said, right, I'd put a bit here, and I was thinking of that idea that we saw a few minutes ago. And actually it's quite similar to it, though there's a few things I left out, and one of the things was the idea of different heights. So maybe that's how I could develop it further. Maybe that's a better way to do it. Maybe this is too boring, or maybe I could have this a hell of a lot higher in the first place, and like that design we saw in one of the briefs where it went kind of up vertically off the desk and had a very small footprint, maybe that's really where I should be going. Anyway, so opening for a notebook, so to hold a notepad just in there, to slide down there on the page and you'd slide it in under it. Then over here, pen, what's it, pen path, what would it be? Pen or colouring pencils maybe, might be nice in there. Actually, one of the ideas I saw, and I don't seem to have printed it out, it's coming back into my head again, no I don't, for some mental reason, was a cloud that had holes drilled into it, and then they had the colouring pencil stuck into the hole, so it looked like a rainbow coming out of the cloud. It was lovely. Pen or colouring pencils would go in those little holes. Okay. What else then? This slot, this is the slot here for the phone. Maybe in there. You'll notice in the speedy up version, I put that there, and then I put it there, and then I put that there. I think it would go in front of the pencils because you wouldn't see the screen otherwise. I was originally going to put it at the back. So that's that. This here then is a magnet. So it would hold drawing pins and, okay, can I draw a paper clip? Paper clips and the like. And over here, this is cork board for using the drawing pins. And of course, look, there's loads more that you could add. Okay, so happy enough with that for the moment. I usually find with these things that you think you're finished, or you think you're nearly finished. And then as you're colouring it in or something, you think of something else that could be added to it. So that's where I'm going to go next. I'm going to do the old colouring in. And again, because I've shown you this enough times, so I expect it done, let's make it look like wood. So first job always, go over it with just some sort of wood. Right. Last thing, I'm going to give it a bit of a base. Somewhere to sit, somewhere to rest, somewhere to make it look like it's an actual 3D object. And that just really means take a colouring pencil and just shade around the bottom of it. That's all. That's all. And there we go. And now it looks like it actually is sitting somewhere. Okay, now maybe it's not the best idea. Maybe it's not the one I would use if this was the brief I was designing or the brief that I had to work through. But it is neat, it is compact. So it is neat, it's compact. It will be used on a desk. It organises writing and study accessories and look in a neat and compact way. So in terms of answering the brief, it does. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned there or spoke about in any way is, well, how would you put it together? And the reason I haven't done that is I always like you to think about, well, what would I like? What would it look like? Well, how would it come together before I ever go near the, how would I make it? So looking at that, I can see a few different ways I could make it. It would need a few different parts. I'd certainly be looking at joints maybe down here. Maybe there should be a line there, perhaps something like that to joint it or to glue it or whatever, look. But that's the next stage, looking at your design, analysing it, changing a few things about it. I would probably change the height here at the back. I think I'd like that a bit taller. Or maybe you could have the notepad thing kind of going two ways. I've nowhere there to hold sellotape maybe, or a stapler, or maybe the stapler could go in there. But look, there's areas I can see where I can improve, and I can see what I can do to improve them. So it is a design, but I wouldn't consider it a finished design. But here's what we were learning, right? Here's what we were doing. The plan of all this was to take a brief, analyze the brief, do some investigation and research. We did that. That was these, or at least I did that. You did some too. Now we're on the development of design ideas and we are sketching. But you'll be jumping over and back on these two for a little while in any design brief, because you'll say, right, I did a sketch. Sketches, remember I said you wanted? Did you like it? Did it need to change? Maybe it did, so I went back. And I said, right, I'll develop again and I'll sketch again. The minute you sketch something, you will automatically find some element of it that you're not particularly happy with or that you think could be better, and you will change it. And you know what? That's life too. I find I have yet to meet a child, and myself included, who has ever made something that hasn't kind of gone, if I did this, I'd do it differently. You know, people are always changing their mind about things. Okay. That doesn't look like a paperclip, I don't know. Anyway, so what I want you to do is finish your designs, upload them to me. You can print out that page again if you want with the brief on the top, but you don't have to. You can do it as a blank page. You can do it in your copybook. Try to take the best photograph of this as you can, and I'll put them together in a video for you. So on Friday evening at some point, or maybe Saturday morning, I'll post that and you can look at it in your own time. It'll be on YouTube, be on my channel on YouTube. And just look, do your best kind of sketching. Use some colour, think about things, put some detail on it, and yeah, come up with a design. Okay, and I will talk to you again.